So in order to achieve metabolic success, in order to reverse diabetes, boost our energy, and achieve the kind of health that we want, we must first understand how the body works. And understanding how the body works in this case means understanding how the metabolic systems work. How do they intertwine? What is the purpose of metabolism? We throw the phrase metabolic diseases around. And so tonight, here in this episode, we're going to talk a little bit about what does it really mean? And metabolism demystified. That's what we're talking about here in this space. Hey, this is Dr. Dwain Woode. That's Wood with an E. The E stands for endocrinology. Here on the channel, I educate, I empower, and I encourage you to take charge of your health and your life, avoid complications, and go to the next level. And in this year, we're using the new us to power our limitless living. Hey, I'm talking to adults with type 2 diabetes who want to reverse their diabetes, who want to become metabolically active, who want to get off of medications, who want to improve their lives. And I welcome you to our episode tonight as we launch into a new season and a new mini-series as we talk about metabolism and how it works in our body. I welcome you. If you're new to me, go ahead and put new in the comments because I'd love to welcome you with a hand clap and let you know that we are excited that you're here. If you have questions, go ahead and put those questions in the comments because we'd love to get to those as we get through the episode tonight. If you are out there, whatever platform you're on, we welcome you. We're glad that you're here. If you are on Instagram, if you are on, what else are we on? LinkedIn, if you are on Twitch, if you are on Facebook, or of course right here now on YouTube, welcome to the platform. Welcome to all of our community members. We'll hop over and we'll say hello to everyone here in just a minute. What I want to say here at the outset, and as we move through this episode, as we move through this season, is we are setting ourselves up for success. And everything that we do is going down the path to help you become successful, to give you the tools, to give you the mindset change, and to give you those things that help you set yourself up for the best possibility of achieving those metabolic goals that you have. We'll come back and we'll talk more about goals here in just a little while, but that's where we're heading. That's where we're heading right now. So hey, I see some folks out there. Let me hop over it and I'm going to say hello to you. I do see, let's see, who do we have out there? I think I saw Jennifer was probably the first one out that we saw. So let me see, Jennifer, there you are. Jennifer, how are you? So Jennifer's out there. I think I do see Steve as well. So let's go ahead and let's say hello to Jennifer. Here we go. Jennifer, hey, how are you? Jennifer said, hey, Steve. We've got Teresa. Hey, Teresa. She said, hey, Doc and everyone, Jennifer and Steve. Glad that you're here. And then, of course, Steve is saying hello. And East Coaster, hey, welcome. It says, hi, Doc. Hi, everybody. And then we say, Lorraine saying hello all, and Lorraine is new, so Lorraine, here is a hand clap for you, and let me give you some music. Well, thank you for stopping through and hanging out with us, Lorraine. We appreciate that. And of course, Steve is saying hello. And then Cornelia. Hey, Cornelia, how are you? She's saying hello, everybody. Glad that you are all here in this space. So let's get to it, y'all. Let's get to it. We've been having some interesting weather in my area. And so this weekend I was in for most of the weekend. Went out yesterday for the first time to just kind of see how things were as I made my way down to where the office was to make sure that we could get to the office today. And we were able to. So, I mean, I didn't anticipate that would be an issue as we moved, as we went through we had snow. Okay, which is what we had, and I didn't anticipate that would be a big issue over the course of this afternoon. So that was pretty cool. So let's go ahead, and I want to show you, as you know how we do. I've got my meter off to the side, and I've got my clarity report that we'll take a look at. So here's my meter right here. We're going to take a look at those in just a minute. And of course, my Dexcom clarity is right below. But before we do that, let's hop over and look to see what my blood sugars are. There you go. So that's my blood sugar. 104 is what my Libre right now says that my blood sugar is. And you'll see there, kind of the middle of the day, blood sugar got up above 150. Now, here's an interesting thing. So today for me was a little strange. And let me hop over to this one. And you'll see there that so right about 12 or so, and I think I told you guys I was kind of coming out of an illness, and my blood sugar shot up. And for most of today, it's been in the 120s to 130s, maybe 140s. And I couldn't figure out, let me go to this view. I couldn't figure out what was going on. And it took until about 1 o'clock this afternoon before that blood sugar actually started coming down. So it was an interesting process for me today. And I know a lot of times I've had people say to me, hey, my blood sugar shot up. I didn't know what was going on. And we say to them, hey, monitor that. If this is a recurring issue, then it's an issue. But having those spikes, I couldn't explain. I couldn't explain the height that it went to today. So we'll see what it does here over the course of the next couple of next day or so. I have not eaten anything since probably 8, 9 o'clock, maybe 10 o'clock yesterday evening, 10 p.m. So we're coming up here almost. So what's that? Coming up in about 21 hours of eating, and you see my blood sugar there at 128. Anyway, so that's what my blood sugar is right now based on my Libre. Let's go ahead and let's take a look at my Keto Mojo and my Contour. And what do you think my ketones are going to be? Just go ahead and drop that in the comments right there. So let's go ahead and do that. So Keto Mojo right here and my Contour. Let's get a strip out. And we'll see what that is. You guys remember when I broke my fast on Friday, my ketones were 1.6. And I actually came back on and did a special episode for that. Go ahead and pop that out. And then get into my handy dandy container here so that I can get a lancet. Here we go. All right. And so, I don't know if you guys can see that. There you are. Okay, that's my lancet that I'm using. Let's go ahead and, right. So this is just a twist off, pop off the top, get a finger, and I tend to use the same finger. So let's go ahead and do that. And boom, 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 boom. And let's see if we got a good drop. So we did get a good drop. Get that started, get another one so that we can do the Contour. And so 122 is what the Keto Mojo says. And the Contour says that I am 107, which is closer to what the Libre is saying right here. Let's go ahead and change this out. And get that started. Okay, so this is the ketone. So go ahead and drop that in the comments. What do you think the ketones are going to be? And we'll get back over here. All right. So metabolism. So we've been talking about metabolism for a while. In fact, you probably can't talk about diabetes, talk about any other chronic illness lifestyle illness without the term metabolism coming up, because that's where everybody talks. Everybody is talking about what's going on with metabolism. And the question that we want to pose, or the direction that we want to get in, is how does metabolism affect what we're doing, and what can we do about it to become healthy? Remember, you heard me say at the top of the show that we're talking to adults with type 2 diabetes who want to reverse their diabetes. And I say that specifically intentionally because we're talking to diabetics, but the disease process that diabetics suffer from is a metabolic disorder. And so when we use that phrase metabolism, what does that really mean? And so that's what we're going to spend some time talking about here over the course of this episode. And so what is metabolism, right? What does metabolism really mean? What is it, and how does it work? Well, metabolism, simply put, is that process that the body uses to convert what you eat or drink into energy or building blocks in the body, right? So the things that you eat, all the food that goes in, the body takes that and it's converting it into a form that it can use so that it can provide what is required to sustain you. Remember, the function of the body is keeping you alive. Everything that it does is with the intention of keeping you alive. So in fact, when we have illnesses, most of the illnesses that we find are a result of the body the body fighting the thing that's attacking it. So if I have an infection, the body is fighting the invader, it's fighting the bacteria, it's fighting the virus. And as a result of fighting the bacteria or the virus, I get a fever. And the fever comes because my body is producing substances that elevate the temperature in the body so that we can fight the invader. When I have swelling in a particular area, the body is producing cells and it's sending resources to that area to encompass, to wall off, to flush out, to get fighting cells into the area, and so the body swells up. When a person has something that's gangrenous, that is when you have an infection in your foot or your arm or somewhere, and that part of the body begins to become black, calloused, and eventually for some people it actually has to be taken off. The reason that happened is that the body has said to itself, hey, I would much rather lose a toe or a foot than lose my entire body. So what it starts to do is it starts to allow that part of the body to die. So remember, the function of the body is to keep us alive. Its job is to say, hey, what do I need to do in my space to keep this organism, this person, going? And so I'm willing to sacrifice different parts of myself. A toe, a hand, whatever it is, so that I can keep myself alive. So that's the function of the body. And so metabolism is that process where the body is taking the food that we eat, the things that we drink, and it's breaking it down and it's extracting from it the energy, or producing the energy that it needs to be able to function. And so there are two real aspects of metabolism that we want to talk about. One is what's called catabolism, that is the building up of processes, and the other is anabolic. The catabolism is the breaking down of stuff, and anabolic or anabolism is building up. And so those are the two functions that the body goes through when we're talking about metabolism or metabolic systems. Catabolism is what we think of often as when someone is exercising, when someone is bodybuilding. We all know that the body during those processes the muscles begin to break, the muscles begin to tear, and so you have this recovery period. Right? So a lot of people kind of understand that. So the body is really breaking down those muscles, and as a result of that, then it takes some time to recover, right? So the recovery time between exercising days, a lot of people will talk about. And so catabolism is breaking down of stuff, breaking it down. So the body, when food comes in, when nutrients come in, when you drink something, the body is taking that stuff and it's storing it somewhere. And then eventually it has to begin breaking it down for energy. Does that make sense? All right. Anabolism, or anabolic systems, on the other hand, is all about growing. So when I eat food, the body says, hey, I'm a child, right? It's a baby, has to grow. So the body takes the food and it's using that energy to cause the organism, cause the baby to grow. And then we become a child, and then we get taller. We go through puberty, we get taller, right? And then after that, when we stop growing that way, if we keep eating too much, then we kind of grow this way, right? So anabolism, or anabolic systems, is all about growing. And catabolic systems is all about breaking down, okay? So in the metabolic space then, the goal for the metabolic space is to have a balance between the anabolic, that's the building up, and the catabolic, that's the breaking down. So that when we eat, the goal for our food, hear me, the goal for what we eat is to have a balance between building stuff and breaking down stuff. And if we strike a good balance between the two, then we have homeostasis. And homeostasis means sameness. So the body's always working to get back to homeostasis. It's always working to get back to a place where things are balanced. So that's the function. That's the goal for what the body does. It's trying to balance between those two, anabolic and catabolic. Make sense? Awesome. So as we then talk about metabolism and this building and breaking down and the balance, why does it matter? It matters because everything in our body, everything that we do, every movement that we have, every thought that we have, every breath that we take, every beat of the heart, all comes through the metabolic pathways. You can't do anything if metabolism is not working. And so a balanced metabolism then sets you up to have the best possible possibility of success. If the metabolism is dysregulated, if the metabolism is out of balance, if the metabolism isn't working, then everything downstream is bad or has a potential for badness. It's kind of like being downstream from a sewage system. Okay? So your house is downstream from some pollution. And so everything now that's beyond that pollution becomes contaminated. And so if we can somehow clean up the pollution, then it doesn't affect everything else. And that's the idea behind metabolism. Because metabolism is the place where everything that comes in gets processed in the mitochondria. We'll talk about that here in just a minute. If everything is working, then downstream we don't have an issue. Diabetes is dysregulated metabolism. Coronary artery disease is dysregulated metabolism. High blood pressure, high cholesterol, dysregulated metabolism. Polycystic ovarian syndrome, dysregulated metabolism. And so a balanced metabolism, an optimized metabolism, is essential for sugar management, for energy, and to reverse diabetes. You guys knew that was coming, right? Knew that was coming. Okay? So a common misconception is that as you age, your metabolism is supposed to slow. Now, the metabolism does get slower over time, but it's not an instant thing. So it's not like yesterday you were good and then today you're bad, right? Over time, metabolism can change. Another misconception is that thin people have a higher metabolism. Not necessarily true. Not necessarily true. Okay? So how then does metabolism work? How does metabolism work? So there is this powerhouse in the body, and it's called a mitochondria. And a mitochondria is the place inside of your body where all the food ultimately shows up, or the energy from the food ultimately goes. So your body is in there and it's taking, it's I was going to say, it's taking the pizza. It's taking the pizza that you just ate, right? And it's breaking it down. So the digestive system takes it. And, we've talked about enzymes before. And the enzymes, the amylase is breaking down the protein, the carbs. And we got the peptides that are breaking down the protein. And we've got the emulsification of the fats. And so all this stuff now is being ground up and being pulverized, and the body is extracting from it ultimately proteins, fats, and carbs. There they are. That's the 3 macronutrients: proteins, fats, and carbs. And the thing that gives us the most readily available source of energy is the carbohydrates. And so the body extracts from it the sugar, and that sugar then enters what's called the, it goes into the mitochondria. I was going to say the ATP cycle or Krebs cycle. That part, we can come back and talk about other things, talk about it another time. But ultimately, I want you to understand that there's this little box in the body. It's called a mitochondria. And everything that you eat, when the energy is extracted from it, it goes into the mitochondria, and out from the other side comes out energy. Got it? Okay? It's a little box, and in one side goes in food, and the other, or glucose, and in the other side comes out energy. And so mitochondria are most active in tissues that require a lot of energy, like the brain, right? So the brain needs a lot of energy. The heart, because it's always pumping, and muscles, because they're moving. Muscles are what carry you around. And so the body is utilizing that, and it's using the mitochondria for that. And then here comes our little friend, insulin. Remember, insulin is a switch. When we talked about anabolic systems and catabolic systems, building up systems and breaking down systems, do you know what the switch is that determines where the food goes that you eat? Whether the body's going to build with it or whether the body's going to use it, it is insulin that regulates that. So when you eat food, insulin, when it goes up, insulin says build, 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 build. That's why hyperinsulinemia, that's why insulin resistance, that's why all of those disease processes that surround metabolism are an insulin problem. Because when insulin comes out, it goes to anabolic systems. Like tongue-tied. It goes to anabolic systems. So insulin, when insulin levels are normal, they do what they're supposed to do. They send energy where it's supposed to go. But insulin determines whether we burn it or we store it. And so it's going to play a big part when we talk about metabolism, right? So what are the energy pathways for the body? Right, there are three things I want you to know. One is what's called the basal metabolic rate. The basal metabolic rate. So this is the amount of energy that your body uses when you're at rest. So if you're just sitting there doing nothing, you're not exercising, you're not lifting stuff, you're not cleaning the house, you're just kind of chill, just to keep you alive, the body has to burn energy. And that's called your basal metabolic rate, or the BMR. And then there's active metabolism. This is the energy that your body uses when it's doing stuff. So if you get up and you can walk down the stairs, that's active metabolism. When you go to the grocery store and you put stuff in your cart, as you're putting stuff, taking off the shelves and putting them in your cart, that's active metabolism. When you pick that bag up and you take it out to your car, put it in the trunk, that is active metabolism. So active metabolism is the energy that your body uses to do stuff. The basal metabolic rate is just the stuff to keep you alive when you're not doing anything. Active metabolism when you're doing things. And then there is a cost to metabolize, to burn, to break down the food that you eat. So when you eat an apple, in order for your body to chew that apple, digest the apple, extract from the apple the energy that's in it, the body has to put energy into doing that. And that's called the thermic effect of food. The thermic effect of food. And so different foods require different amounts of energy to burn them. Foods that are more complex, don't you hear that word? Foods that are more complex take a lot of energy. So if you're eating foods that are complex, then your body, in addition to the energy that it puts into to store that, it has to put more energy into burning that food. So there are certain foods that increase the amount of energy that your body has to expend. So eating those foods rev your metabolism higher. So it is beneficial to eat foods that have a high thermal effect than foods that don't. Simple foods like simple sugar, if you put sugar in your mouth and the body just takes it and sends it directly to the mitochondria, guess what? There's really not any thermic effect there. But if you eat food where the body has to break it down, grind it up, extract the stuff, and then it's got to do something with it, package it, send it to the mitochondria before it can get the energy, guess what? That took a lot of energy to get there. So we'll talk about thermic effect of foods as well. Okay? All right. And so why does understanding metabolism matter? Why does it really matter in our health? Well, one of the reasons it matters is that there is a connection to diabetes. You heard me say a little while ago that insulin dysregulates metabolism, or excess insulin. Let me say it that way. So that insulin resistance, that phrase that we always talk about, is a disruption in the energy process that eventually leads to high blood sugar. We've said that high blood sugar is diabetes, but no, it's not. High blood sugar is the result of diabetes, a result of dysregulation in the metabolism, and the dysregulation in metabolism happens because of the insulin. And this leads to high blood sugar. Metabolic dysfunction is at the heart of type 2 diabetes. It is at the heart of many of our chronic illnesses along the metabolic spectrum. Okay, that's one. That's one reason for understanding understanding metabolism. Another reason for understanding metabolism is that we have to understand we have to learn this process of balancing anabolic systems and catabolic systems. And if we understand how the body works, we understand what are the things that we do that require excess insulin, and that insulin promotes fat storage. It promotes high blood pressure. It promotes elevated blood sugar, right? It promotes the things along the metabolic spectrum. And so if we understand how the body works, if we understand metabolism, we can make choices that set us up for success. And then addressing these imbalances will cause weight loss, insulin sensitivity, leading to lower blood sugars, leading to better A1C, leading to reversal of diabetes. You see that? Right? It is a process. And then understanding how your body works allows you to tailor your diet, your exercise, your interaction with other people. All of that. So what are some of the things that affect metabolism? What affects metabolism? And there are lots of different things, but some of the most important ones that we will begin dealing with. All right, because remember, our goal is to balance building and breaking down. Catabolism and anabolism. Okay? I'm going to say catabolic systems and anabolic systems. It's easier for my tongue to say. Okay? So between those two, our goal, that is our goal. And so what are some of the things that will affect it? Well, our age. Our metabolism changes over time. And there are some things that we've got to understand. This is particularly important for our ladies, right? Because as we go through or get close to menopause, the changes in our hormones will affect our metabolism. So there's menopause for women. And guys, if you didn't know, there's this thing called andropause. That's us, right? So that's when our androgens, our testosterone levels, those androgenic hormones, that's when they change. And that can change our metabolism as well. Our muscle mass will affect metabolism. Exercising muscles. More muscles you have, the higher your metabolic rate, because those muscles need energy to keep going. We've talked about fasting workouts. And one of the reasons for fasting workouts is for people to use the fasting process to keep the growth hormones elevated, because growth hormones help with muscle. And growth hormones also help with metabolic or metabolism. Okay? All right. So talking about things that affect metabolism. So hormones, right? We just talked about that. Hormones, the role of insulin, ghrelin, cortisol, growth hormone. All of those hormones will affect metabolism. And we can make choices, things that we do that affect how those hormones come out, how those hormones process, and that in turn talks to the downstream process of what happens with metabolism. And then, of course, a big one, diet and nutrition. The food that we eat has a direct impact on our metabolism. We just mentioned those foods that have high thermic effect. So the more complex those foods are, the more energy the body has to put in to break it down. So that revs the metabolism up. If we eat simple foods, simple processed foods, where the body doesn't have to extract anything, where the sugar is readily available, then the thermic effect is low. The food itself will cause a spike in insulin, right? Because it's a big dump or big load of energy, big load of sugar. Insulin comes out, and insulin, that switch, once that switch comes on, the switch says store. I know you're just eating broccoli, but go ahead and store it. I know you're just eating salad, go ahead and store it. I know you're eating the things that are supposed to be healthy for you, but store it. Because the switch got turned on. And so our goal is to regulate, begin getting back into metabolic homeostasis. And then inflammation, right? So inflammation is a huge one. In fact, if we were to really talk about metabolism and the things that we see within the metabolic space, much of what goes on in metabolism, the chronic diseases, chronic illnesses that people have related to metabolism, probably were initiated by some inflammatory process. And it's prolonged by some inflammatory process. It's made worse by some inflammatory process. In fact, now that I'm talking about this, we talked about my blood sugars earlier, right? The illnesses that I'm getting over or coming through, right, are I saw higher blood sugars as a result. And they're higher now than they were before I got sick. All right? So diet and nutrition, a huge effect on metabolism. So what are some strategies then that we can use for metabolism? And they come in 3 flavors. But before I do that, let's go back and let's talk about what the goal is. And the goal is reversing diabetes. Now, I throw that out, but I want everyone who's not diabetic to hang their hat there as well. I want you to grab on because we're talking about metabolism. When we regulate our metabolism, when we're able to bring homeostasis between the anabolic and the catabolic systems, when we're able to mitigate the things that are promoting high insulin, then all of the metabolic diseases can improve. I give the example of thinking about metabolism like a Christmas tree. Right? So you got the Christmas tree, and on the Christmas tree, we hang all the different ornaments. And so metabolism or metabolic diseases is the Christmas tree. And hanging off the Christmas tree are all of the different diseases. It is the high blood pressure, it's the high cholesterol, it's the coronary artery disease, it's the diabetes, it's the polycystic ovarian syndrome, it's the obesity, it's the actual metabolic syndrome or syndrome X, it's MASH, which is called now, used to be called non-alcoholic fatty liver disease. Now it's called metabolically associated steatohepatitis. So all those ornaments are the metabolic diseases that are hanging on the tree. And so when we are able to bring homeostasis into the space, when we're able to regulate the balance between breaking down and building, when you eat something, how do we get the body to not send that to fat storage? How do we get the body to burn it right now so that it doesn't become stored in our liver? How do we get our insulin levels to go down so that it doesn't cause our blood vessels to become so thick and hard that our blood pressure goes up? That's the idea behind regulating metabolism. And so if we can do that, then we are ahead of the game and we're setting ourselves up for success. So what are some strategies? And they come in 3 flavors. Number 1, nutrition. Yep, nutrition. You know that was going to be there, right? So balanced bites. We've talked about balanced bites. Balanced bites are the things that we eat, the things that fuel our body, the things that fuel our energy, the things that the body has access to, the food that gives signals to the body, the food that regulates our hormones. So we think often that food only is calories, but food also has signals that go to the body, and all of those signals can affect what the body does. That switch, the insulin, the food sends a signal to the insulin, so now insulin has to respond. So if insulin is the signal that goes between building and storing, right? Insulin is that switch. Then what regulates the switch? One of the things that regulates the switch is our nutrition, the things that we eat. So nutrition is a big one. Exercise is another one. We're talking about things to optimize metabolism. Exercise is important because aside from taking insulin and aside from eating, we can regulate how much energy is in the body at any particular time by the amount of exercise that we do. And I'm not talking about rock climbing and going and living in the gym. I'm talking about just using your muscles. So we're talking about regulating homeostasis. And then, of course, lifestyle management. Now, lifestyle management, there is so much that's under there. I mean, we can do an entire year under lifestyle management as it relates to metabolism. So we're talking about things like sleep. We're talking about how you deal with stress. And if we're talking about how we deal with stress, we're talking about how do you interact with people? Do people make you nervous? Are you able to stand up for yourself? Are you able to set boundaries? Do you problem solve well? Are you good at organization? Are you good at being consistent? Do you procrastinate? Right? So when we talk about lifestyle, there's a whole host of things that is under there we can talk about. And all of those things affect cortisol. Cortisol affects insulin. Cortisol affects growth hormone. Cortisol affects our ghrelin and our leptin, which are the hunger and satiety hormone. And if the cortisol is high, then we are going to eat. We are going to buffer. We are going to eat emotionally. When you don't sleep, sleep dysregulates cortisol. When you don't sleep well, you put on weight, regardless of whether you're eating more. Right? So nutrition, exercise, and lifestyle management. So my question to you is this. That was not my question. So my question to you is, what is your metabolic plan? What is the plan that you have for metabolism? What is the plan that you have for your diabetes? One of the things that we're going to do is what's called the limitless inventory, to look at the different parts of our metabolic plan, our metabolic makeup, to see how are we doing in those various areas, so that we can target specifically areas that we need to improve. I think of like a 3 or 4-legged stool. Have you ever been on one of those, right? And what happens if one of those legs is shorter than the others? Then the stool is not balanced. And so often we find ourselves in our metabolic space in imbalanced situations. We're like eating great, but we're not exercising. Or we spend all of our time in the gym, but we're not doing anything in the kitchen in terms of eating well. We are eating well and we're spending time in the gym, but we have poor relationships. Or we're not sleeping well. Or we're not dealing with pain. Or we're not dealing with depression. So where in your space do you need to spend time? What is your metabolic plan? Because metabolism says that I'm extracting energy. And when I extract that energy, I got to do something with it. I'm either building or I'm using or breaking down. And we've got to have a balance between the two. So in your metabolic space, what is your plan? And we are fueling that plan with the new us that we've built, with the new us that we have been working on to help us get into the limitless living space that we want to be in. So that puts a perspective, that gives an idea of the overview of metabolism. And we're going to come back, we're going to spend more time walking through lots of different parts of metabolism so that we can understand it better, so that we can make choices that set ourselves up for success. Awesome. All right, so let's hop over. I think I saw some folks out there. So let's go ahead and say hello. I saw a bunch of people come in. So let's see, who do we got? We said hello to Cornelia earlier. So Cornelia said she was new, so we said that. Steve said hello, Lorraine, and welcome. Not Cornelia, but Lorraine said she was new. East Coaster said, Doc, thank you for your response this weekend. If you recall, I had finished 24-hour fast, walked 20,000 steps, and thought it may have overdone it and screwed up my metabolism. Metabolism. Look at that. See how that comes right in, right? So no. So exercising, fasting, all those things are beneficial. We want to make sure that we're listening to our bodies, however, right? So that's the important thing. Make sure you're listening to your body, because you can exercise to the extreme where you're actually hurting yourself. We can fast to the extreme where we're actually putting ourselves in danger. Okay? So you want to make sure that you're being balanced, right? There's that word again, homeostasis. I love that. Thank you, East Coaster. Jennifer says, help the algorithm. Hit that like. Thank you, Jennifer. Thank you for that. Let me give you a hand clap. Lorraine said, thank you. I love the music. Oh, yeah. Great. Jennifer said, I computed a 47-hour fast this weekend. Hadn't done one for a while. Jennifer. All right, everybody, tell Jennifer, hey, good luck. Tell her congratulations. Gian says, hi, doctor. Hi, all. Cornelia is clapping. I think that is for you, Jennifer. Yay. Steve is saying, smiley faces to Jennifer. Steve says he thinks my ketones are going to be 0.3. Autumn, hello to the Woode. I like that. Autumn, thank you. Jennifer is saying hello to Autumn. Hello, AJ. Hi, anybody. I love the Woode Gang. Gion says... So you guys are coming up with names. I love it. Autumn says, I ended up doing a 99... What? I'm not even going to finish the reading of it yet, but here you go. Okay, I'm going to have to find a different sound. Let me see. What other sounds do I have on here? No. I like that one. What's this one? Okay, so I have to find some different sounds. Well, okay, so Autumn, let's go back and just finish up. So I ended up doing a 99-hour fast last week. Broke it with a carnivore meal. I have been spending most of the past week fighting off COVID. Yeah, Autumn, in the middle of illness and so forth, it gets difficult. But congratulations on the 99 hours. Wow. Okay, so here's one thing I want to do. Here's a good place to say this. What I want to do, right? What I want to do, and you guys are going to be a big part of helping this. What I'd like to do is after the show, I want to maybe have one or two people come on with me afterwards and record a just a brief, maybe 5-minute telling your story for that week. Okay, 5 minute telling that story, 2, 3, 5 minutes telling that story, whatever happened that week. Okay, so I would love to have you guys do that. Let's see, and I didn't. Here you go. And I am going to, if I can figure out how to get it done here really quickly. I'm going to put this in the YouTube member area. Let's see. Let's do that really quickly here. Create a post. And all right, so YouTube member area, I'm gonna put that in, and it's there now, so you guys can hop in, and we'll do that. Okay, so back to Cornelia. So Autumn, sorry. So Autumn says broke the fast, fighting off COVID. So yes, during illness, it can be tough. Gion says Autumn. So she's congratulations. Autumn says just now starting to feel better. Going into rolling 72-hour fast and break with carnivore meals. Okay, so you're going to be alternating back and forth with 72 carnivore. I love it. I don't do a carnivore. I probably need to. I spent a lot of time this past weekend smoking chicken and some other things. I made a dish, by the way, that my dad used to make. It's called pepper pot, and it starts out with burnt sugar. So you burn the sugar and you season the meat, and so yeah, it was interesting. It was interesting there. All right, let's see. And let's see. I see someone in the. See someone popping into the Zoom. All right. And then Autumn says, okay, so 72 hours. Gion says, wow, you are great, Autumn. So yes, I refer to it as, OCMETD, one carnivore meal every third day. I love it. One carnivore meal every third day. Okay, Gion says, wow. I like it. Jennifer says, awesome. Thank you all for your support. Autumn is saying thank you for everybody. Yes, great community. Hit that like button for the algorithm. Awesome, Autumn. So glad to hear you're feeling better. Yes, definitely. Hi, East Coaster, Lorraine, Autumn, Joy, Gian, Cornelia. Cornelia is just hello to everyone. How did Dr. Woode know I caved in and had pizza during a week? So Cornelia, that was not for you. I was actually thinking of all the things that I wanted to eat. That's what I was thinking. And I have some nuts around, so I understand what you're saying, Cornelia. No, sorry, that was Autumn. Autumn said that. Autumn Joy says, hi, Theresa. Thank you, doctor. That was a nice escape. Hey, Teresa. Yeah. My plan for metabolism is OMAD and 40-hour fast every weekend. Okay. So Gian is saying that is going to be her metabolic plan. Teresa said, doctor, do you know about Brenzwe? Brenzwe. I don't know that I do, Teresa. Tell me more. Gian says, and Jim, Lesson from doctor. I want to try all things what doctor said. So all for everyone out there. Let me say this. And Gian, I'm so excited that you're in there. What I want you all to remember is that we're doing right. Is progress, not perfection. Right. So we want to make sure that we are implementing things that we can maintain. We're not in the process of doing anything for a week, a month, 2 weeks, even a year. We're in the process of doing things that are going to last for our lifetime. So as we're doing things, we want to make sure that we don't harm ourselves, that we don't hurt ourselves, that we are setting ourselves for the longest possibility of success. Okay? So Autumn said, my plan is rolling 72-hour fast, carnivore diet, rowing every day, and hoping to start sleeping better. My sleep has been horrible lately. Autumn, I'm right there with you. My sleep is better. It's better, but that if I had to look at my limitless inventory, right, one of the places where I would probably mark myself down would be in sleep. So I've got to be able to get better sleep. I should say better sleep. I've got to have a more structured schedule. And because you guys know, I'm here not all the time, but I'm here a lot. And so I've got to regulate that a little bit more. Autumn says, same here. Gian says, same here. I have, my sleep is horrible. Gian said, because of cell phone, it causes poor sleep. Well, we're actually gonna do a show on sleep, by the way, an episode. Great job for your fast, Jennifer. Yes, definitely. Lorraine says, yes, Jennifer. Great, Jennifer, from Gian. Autumn has a question. Is there a link to become a member? There is a link to become a member, and it is, let's see. The link to become a member. I'll drop that in the chat. Let's see. Membership. There it is. So I'll drop that in the chat. Here we go. All right. iPhone Ruth Butler says, hi everyone. Teresa Graham, it is supposed to Teresa says it's supposed to be similar to Jardiance. Huh, okay. No, Teresa, I gotta look that up. iPhone Butler says direct message. Okay, let me go back over here because I think I'm missing some things. All right, there we go. Okay. So iPhone Butler is in the yep. I see some folks coming through, and hello, saying hello, and of course there's the link. And Teresa says, thanks, Cornelia, I had it but lost it. Awesome. All right, so you got that there. All right. So let's go back over here. So one of the most important parts of what we're doing as we move into this season, right? I wanted to spend some time here at the beginning talking about one of the last year we spent a lot of time talking about fasting, right? And fasting works. Fasting works because fasting is helping to regulate metabolism. You've heard me say all the time that fasting is a tool, but fasting works because it helps to regulate metabolism. There are other things that we can do to regulate metabolism. For example, people who are on the GLP-1 receptor agonists, right? So things like well, I'm not going to call the names, but you guys know those medications that people are using for weight loss. Okay. The reason that those medications work for reversing diabetes, for improving weight, for all the other things that they're saying that those medications are good for, is because it's helping to bring homeostasis. It brings homeostasis, one, because it helps the hunger and satiety hormones. It helps them to get regulated so that people don't have the food noise all the time. And because they don't have the food noise all the time, then they're able to make choices that will help with their metabolic conditions. So I want you to understand what's going on. It's not that there is magic in the medication, but the medication is making changes in your body that are helping your body to become regulated when it comes to metabolism. Ultimately, that's the goal. Now, the side effect of that is, okay, people lose weight, people are getting better blood sugars, people, right? So that's what we want to happen. But I want you to understand what's going on. So if we can find things, come on, here it is. You hear me? If we could then find things that help and do some of the same things that those medications do, then that's even better. And when I say better, I don't mean better than the medication. What I mean is better that we are able to do other things, because they're all tools. Not everybody can tolerate some certain medications. Not all insurance companies will pay for those medications. And I have a lot of folks who are on medications, and I'm going to put my hands up. I am a proponent of using the GLP-1s. Right? There are naysayers that say people are taking the easy way out and whatever they may say, but I am a proponent of it, because any tool that we could use that brings benefit, I think, is awesome. Yeah? Awesome. All right. So I think I saw everyone that got the messages. Let's go back over here. I think I saw a couple. Ruth Butler, is the 20-hour fast better than the 16? Oh, okay, Ruth, thank you. And I think you meant you said that in the you put a message in the membership area as well. So all of the fasts are. Let me say it. I think all of the fasts are beneficial. Okay, it actually doesn't matter what fast you do. If you are working on insulin resistance, if you're working on metabolic, let me just throw everything in there. If you're working on metabolic diseases, the fasts are beneficial. The longer fast that you do will give you benefits faster, and perhaps give you some benefits that may not come with some of the shorter fasts. For example, autophagy kicks in at your 18-hour mark, and it revs up as you get into longer fasts. So when we talk about a 16 versus a 20-hour fast, so the first 6 hours is the postprandial phase. The next 6 hours up to 12 hours is what's called that's when things are breaking down, right? Then the next 6 hours, so we're talking about 18 now. So now 18 hours is when we are starting to get all of those benefits that come from extended fasts. And right at about 24 hours is when the glycogen in the liver goes away. And the body now in earnest is burning down or breaking down fat and converted to ketones. So it's not that the 16-hour fast is not beneficial, but you get some additional benefit from some of the other fasts. And let me hop over here and just say, welcome to one of our newest members. So hey, Teresa. Teresa just became a member. So Teresa, thank you for joining us and becoming a part of the. And who is it that says the Wood Gang, the Dwain Woode MD, the Dwain Woode MD crew. We don't have a name for us yet, but that's what our name is right now. So Teresa, thank you for coming through, and thank you for joining. All right. Okay. So Ruth, I hope that answered. Your question. And she said, "Thank you for clarifying." And so Teresa says, "I became a member." Jennifer says, "Welcome to membership, Teresa." And then, of course, Ruth saying, "Thank you for clarifying." All right. So that sets the stage for us. As we move throughout the space, we'll be talking more about metabolism. We'll be talking more about a lot of the other things that you've seen. We're going to enhance, we're going to extrapolate, we're going to build on a lot of the things that we have been talking about so far. And how do we continue pushing the boundary? Because remember, we're not staying stale. We're not staying still. We are moving beyond where we are to a space that gives us better results, that gives us better possibility of success. Okay? All right. So my thought for you right now, we're at the beginning of the year. And as we move through the course of the year, as we move down the path of better life, as we move down the path of better wellness, as we move down the path of better health, one of the most important things that we're going to be running into is time limitations. And when I say time limitations, what I actually mean is not necessarily that the time is limited, but our organization and our ability to put that time to the best use is going to be where we find challenges. The schedules that we have are so packed. We are so committed to things. Sometimes we're overcommitted. And the goal with our limitless living is to become balanced in what we do. That means that we've got to be organized. That means we've got to come up with routines that will work in our space. That means there are times when we're going to have to say no to something. That means that there are times when we won't be able to do all the things that we think we want to do. We won't be able to stay up late. We won't be able to whatever that is. But as my wife always says, when you say no to something, you're saying yes to something else. When I say no to staying up late, I'm saying yes to the ability to get up in the morning and be metabolically healthy because now I can exercise. When I say no to the cookie, I'm saying yes to better blood sugars, which means that I'm decreasing my chances of retinopathy, neuropathy, and nephropathy. When I say no to that extra project, I am saying yes to the ability to be able to spend time with my family. When you say no to something, you're saying yes to something else. And in the space, one of our challenges is going to be able to coordinate and be able to spend the time we need to be metabolically healthy. And in this space, I want to encourage you that we're going to have to face that. You can face it. You can do it. We're going to work on getting organized. We're going to spend time working together so that we can live the limitless life. Awesome. All right. And I see Autumn. Autumn has become a member. So Autumn, thank you for joining us. Yes. So congratulations. Welcome to the community. Teresa's saying, welcome, Autumn. And Autumn says, I chose to do a rolling 72 because I am a metabolic mess. I am hoping in the future I can change to alternate day fasting, still with a low carb. Yes, love it. All right. Well, thank you all. I'm always excited to be in this space. I want you to remember that we will be back this week. We will be doing our check-ins coming up over the next couple of days. Make sure that you join us for those. Next Monday, the episode that we're going to be doing, it will probably be recorded, but I want you to come on anyway, right, and join us and hang out and interact and share your successes. Share your successes as we move through the space, okay? Like I said, it's probably going to be recorded, but you know me, I love being here, so I'm going to try to find a way where I can be here anyway. Okay? Remember, 91.4% of the things that we worry about never come true. The things that we spend our energy with, the things that are taking up our time, the things that we're anxious about, depressed about, worried about, stressed about, 91.4% never come true. And that 91.4% is often what pushes us off of our metabolic homeostasis, our metabolic balance, because it pushes us to eat. When we eat, that eating causes elevated insulin. The elevated insulin causes dysregulation. So 91.4%. We can deal with that. We're going to be working on dealing with that here in this space. What we do is built on the Triple E formula for success. We educate, we empower, and we encourage. We educate with the shows, with the blogs, with the podcast. We empower with the tools that we're learning. Right now we have a 100-day walk to consistency and health that's going on. 6 o'clock in the morning. Get up every morning. It's about half an hour. You get to walk. You get to hear me again. You can put me in your headphones while you're rowing, Autumn, while you're jogging, while you're lifting, whatever you're doing to be metabolically healthy, right? Just put it in and listen to it. Okay? Every morning at 6 o'clock in the morning. And we encourage with the community that we're part of. The link is in the member area. So hop over. We're going to spend a couple of minutes here at the end with our community members, those who've just joined. You can pop in there. The link is there. It won't be long. And we are understanding that we are living a limitless life. So thank you for being here. Thank you for being in the space. Thank you for being an amazing community. And I can't say enough about the benefit that I get from you and the benefit that other community members are seeing and getting from interacting with you guys. Well, hey, this is Dr. Dwain Woode. That's Wood with an E. The E stands for endocrinology. Here on the channel, I educate, I empower, and I encourage you to take charge of your health and your life, avoid complications, and go to the next level. And in this year, we're living a limitless life. We'll see you at the next episode. Bye-bye.